Hello, this is Music Tech Explained, the visual approach. Apple just released the new Logic Pro update 10.7.5 with lots of new features and improvements. So keep on watching and I will tell you all about it. Welcome to Music Tech Explained, the visual approach. My name is Edgar Rothermich, author of the best-selling book series Graphically Enhanced Manuals. In this video, I will show the new features and changes in the Logic Pro update 10.7.5. Although it is only a dot release, it is packed with a lot of new features like Ableton Link, Gain Tool, recording of MIDI effect plugins, and a new free tempo recording mode. In addition, major improvements to Smart Tempo and support for Apple's brand new Personalized Spatial Audio Profile when mixing in Dolby Atmos. But before we get started, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell button to get notified about exciting new videos in my Music Tech Explained YouTube channel. So let's get started with a quick introduction of the big new features. Native 32-bit floating point audio file import. Now in 10.7.5, you can import audio files with a 32-bit floating point format directly into Logic without being converted to a 24-bit audio file. Good news for exchanging master files. Recording MIDI effect plugins. Previously, the MIDI effect plugins on an instrument channel strip were real-time effects. But now you are able to record the output of the MIDI effect plugins to the MIDI region when you record your MIDI tracks. Free tempo recording. This is a brand new recording feature that lets you record tracks in your project without following a metronome or previously recorded tracks in your project. The magic of Logic's Smart Tempo, based on machine learning algorithms, can automatically align them later. Smart Tempo Editor enhancements. Talking about Smart Tempo, it got even smarter now in Logic with a new and improved machine learning algorithm and additional functionality in the Smart Tempo Editor. Ableton Link. Logic now supports the popular Ableton Link protocol that lets you jam with other DAWs and apps on your computer or over your Ethernet and Wi-Fi network. Gain Tool. This is an addition to the Tool menu that lets you quickly change the gain offset of an audio region by dragging up and down directly on the audio region. 35 single stump boxes. All the 35 stump boxes that are available in the Pedalboard plugin are now also available as individual effect plugins. Nested track stacks. Now you can create summing stacks and folder stacks inside a summing stack or folder stack. This is a great workflow for organizing your tracks, especially if you have a project with a high track count. Personalized Spatial Audio. If you know what a personalized HRTF is, then you will be excited about this new feature. Apple calls it Personalized Spatial Audio, a brand new feature in iOS 16 that lets you create a profile by taking your head and ear measurements with your iPhone. This will greatly improve your immersive audio experience when listening over headphones. Now this option is integrated in Logic when creating your Dolby Atmos or spatial audio mix. I will explain all these features, their new functionality, and any necessary background in my new book, Logic Pro: What's New in 10.7.5. Not only that, I will also introduce all the other changes in this update with rich graphics so you can learn all the great new stuff and get up and running in no time to incorporate them in your workflow right away. Now let's have a closer look at some of the new features in this Logic update, starting with free tempo recording. When you open a project in 10.7.5, you will notice a new addition to the transport buttons in the control bar, next to the record button. This is the free tempo recording button. It is displayed by default, but can be toggled from the customized control bar and LCD popover with the corresponding free tempo recording checkbox. The function is pretty simple. You press the button to start the recording, but a few things are different. There is no count-in, the metronome is automatically disabled, and the recorded track is soloed, and therefore all other tracks are muted until you stop recording. The brilliant idea behind that is that you can freely record a new track or a new pass without the pressure of playing in time with the already recorded tracks or to a click. Of course, that freely recorded track will not be in sync with the existing tracks, but that is where Logic's smart tempo algorithm steps in. When you stop recording, Logic will tempo analyze your new recording to create its own region tempo track and provides a dialog with multiple options. You can adapt your project tempo to the tempo of your new recording or the average tempo of your new recording. Or the other way around, you can apply the project tempo to the new recording, and with the help of flex time, the audio file will be stretched or expanded accordingly. Or you don't do any of the above and maybe deal with it later in the Smart Tempo editor. This is a cool new feature you definitely should check out. It works for audio and MIDI recording, and there are a few more details that I explain in the book. The engine behind the free tempo recording is Logic's smart tempo algorithm, and there are quite a few new features and functionality enhancements for that in the Smart Tempo editor. First, its algorithm, based on machine learning, has been improved in 10.7.5, something that happens under the hood. Here are some of the many related improvements in the Smart Tempo editor. Now you have two edit modes: the new Hint mode, when this new Edit Mode button is enabled, and the Beat Marker mode, which was the original edit mode, which is active when that button is disabled. The Beat Marker mode and the Hint mode are for different tasks to make the tempo analysis as accurate as possible with just a few clicks. I explain all these new workflows on how to create markers and hints in my book, and have also created some diagrams to better understand on how all that works together to make the tempo analysis as accurate as possible with just a few clicks. To help with those tasks, you can now not only display the transients of the audio file directly on the waveform, you can also enable Snap to Transients to speed up any precise alignments. You can also mark a selection on the waveform of the main display and lock that section with a new command in the shortcut menu so it is protected from any changes or new tempo analysis. And as I said, there is a lot of new stuff to explore in the Smart Tempo editor. Logic now supports the Ableton Link protocol that is widely adapted among DAWs and music apps to jam together running on the same computer or over Ethernet and Wi-Fi. All the apps that have Ableton Link activated recognize each other as participants in that session and share the same tempo. However, they don't share a specific time address or bar number, which is similar to a jam session where any musician can join in at any time to play along. I explain the setup and functionality in my book, and here are just the basic steps to get you up and running. When you open the Customize Control Bar and LCD popover, you might notice that the Sync checkbox has moved to the top. When you enable it, it will place the Sync button right next to the LCD. When you right-click on the button, you will see the new option Ableton Link in the shortcut menu. When you select it, the Sync button changes to the blue active Link button, and a few other things will change. The playhead turns blue to indicate that Logic's transport controls can be controlled remotely. The tempo display turns blue with the label Link. The time signature also turns blue. And the new field, the Ableton Link status, is added to the LCD. It shows the number of additional participants in the link session, which is 0 at the moment. If a participant joins the session, in my example, when I enable Ableton Link in Pro Tools, that participant number now shows the number 1. You will also see a circular progress bar that appears once a participant joins the session. The circle indicates the phase, similar to a 360-degree phase position of an audio wave cycle. Here, the full 360-degree rotation represents 1 bar, and the 12 o'clock position marks the downbeat. I start playback in Pro Tools and watch its LCD display compared to Logic's circular progress bar. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, when Pro Tools is running and I start Logic at any moment, it automatically syncs its playback to the downbeat. The actual bar number is ignored. As you can see on both playhead positions, both DAWs play at a different bar, but their downbeat is in sync. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. 4. And if I change the tempo on one DAW, for example Pro Tools, Logic will update its tempo accordingly. And if I change the tempo on Logic, Pro Tools will change its tempo accordingly. Next, recording MIDI effects plugins. It is a great new feature that was high on the wish list of many Logic users. Let me demonstrate on how it is implemented. In this example, I have an instrument channel strip with 2 MIDI effects plugins, the note repeater and the chord trigger. Without the plugin, I can play single sustained notes on my MIDI controller, and that is exactly how it will sound and how it will be recorded. If I add the repeater plugin, the note will be repeated in 1/8 notes. And if I add the chord trigger plugin, the plugin will generate the additional MIDI events before they enter the software instrument plugin. However, if I remove the plugins or change their settings on purpose or by accident, the project would sound differently because I only recorded the single sustained notes in the MIDI region. Only the output of the MIDI controller is recorded to the MIDI region, and not the output of the MIDI effect plugins. On the channel strip, the extra MIDI events are created live during the playback. But not anymore. In Logic 10.7.5, you can now record the output of the MIDI effect plugins, the generated MIDI events, to the MIDI region. Here's a diagram to illustrate how it is implemented. You create a split point by selecting a specific output of any effects plugin in the signal chain on that channel strip, and all the generated MIDI events up to that output are recorded to the MIDI region, and all the MIDI effect plugins after the split point will still be played live. Here's the implementation in Logic. You click to the right of the MIDI effect slot where you want to create the split point, and from the plugin menu you enable the new option at the bottom, Record MIDI to Track Here. You will see 2 orange triangles to indicate where you set the split point. Every plugin before will be recorded, every plugin after that will play live. Here's a quick demonstration. When I record without the split point, only the output of my MIDI controller, the notes that I play, are recorded. That is what I recorded earlier. Now I delete that and I set the split point after the note repeater plugin. The orange arrows now appear there, and now the repeating notes are recorded. Now I set the split point after the chord trigger plugin. The orange arrows appear to indicate that the output of the note repeater and chord trigger are recorded. It is that simple. If you use Logic Pro to mix in Dolby Atmos, then you will be excited about this new feature, the support for personalized spatial audio. Dolby Atmos and immersive audio is a big new chapter in audio production at the moment, with lots of momentum. However, it also comes with quite a learning curve. even for experienced sound engineers. I have written 3 books about Dolby Atmos and have posted some videos in my YouTube channel to help with those tasks. Logic Pro is one of the few DAWs that has Dolby Atmos fully integrated without the need for any additional software. In version 10.7.3, it introduced a new feature that is only available in Logic: the monitoring of your Dolby Atmos mix using the Apple binaural renderer, so you can hear how your mix will sound when it is played back on Apple Music later. Now 10.7.5 introduces another feature to improve the immersive audio experience when listening through the binaural renderer on your headphones. It is called Personalized Spatial Audio. Here's where you can find the new features in Logic. In your Dolby Atmos mix, open the Dolby Atmos plugin on your surround master channel strip. Click on the Monitoring Format pop-up menu and you will see a few new additions called Standard Spatial Audio and Personalized Spatial Audio. Behind this terminology is a lot of technology, and I highly recommend to learn about the phenomena of binaural audio to better understand and appreciate the concept behind this new feature. I explain all that in great details in my books, but here's a quick rundown. We humans are able to locate sound coming from all directions around us, using only 2 ears. Our brain provides the information where sound is coming from by looking for level, time, and sound differences between the audio signal that enters the left ear compared to the right ear. Those differences are caused by the shape and size of our head and ears. That creates obstacle for the sound before entering the left and right ear canal. Clever mathematical functions called HRTF or head-related transfer functions are able to calculate those sound differences between the left and the right ear based on the head and ear obstacles to simulate the specific angles a sound is hitting a listener from the front, the side, behind, or above the 3-dimensional sound field. A binaural renderer is a process that applies that mathematical function to an audio signal to output a 2-channel audio signal that needs to be listened to over headphones, so the brain is tricked into hearing signals coming from specific directions: left, right, front, behind, above, and so on. The problem with a binaural renderer, however, is that its algorithm is based on the specific size and shape of one specific dummy head. However, your brain can only be successfully tricked if the size of your head and ears is similar to that of that dummy head the engineers used to create the algorithm. The more your personal anatomy differs from the dummy head, the less convincing the immersive sound experience will be when listening to the binaural audio signal over headphones. The same applies to Apple's binaural renderer that is based on whatever dummy head dimensions they use for their algorithms. And that is where personalized spatial audio or custom HRTFs come in. This new feature in iOS 16 that lets you take images of your head with the true depth camera of your iPhone to create a so-called personalized spatial audio profile, a quick 5-minute procedure. The Apple renderer, when playing back Apple Music content on your supported Apple headphones, will then use that personalized profile instead of the standard profile to calculate the binaural audio signal. This results in a much better immersive audio experience when listening to a 3-dimensional Dolby Atmos mix, because it matches the cues on how your brain was trained all your life, based on your own head and ear anatomy. That personalized spatial audio profile that you create on your iPhone is linked to your Apple ID and stored on your iCloud, so when you listen to Apple Music on your iPhone or on your Mac with macOS 13 or higher, it automatically uses your personalized profile. No additional setup, transfer, or configuration is needed. Now, if you use Logic Pro 10.7.5 on that same computer, remember macOS 13 or higher, and have one of the supported Apple headsets selected as the output device in Logic, you choose the Personalized Spatial Audio option in the Monitoring Format pop-up menu in the Dolby Atmos plugin. Logic will now play your Dolby Atmos mix or any spatial audio content that you mix in Logic using the Apple Binaural Renderer with your Personalized Spatial Audio Profile. And here are just a few more changes in the Logic Pro 10.7.5 update. Track Format Mismatch dialog. Whenever you drag an audio file from the Finder or the Loop browser to the track lane, a new track format mismatch dialog appears when the channel mode of the track has less channels than the channel mode of the imported audio file. You have the option to keep the track's channel format, convert it, or create a track with a matching channel format. Bounce dialog. The Bounce dialog has a new checkbox, Include Tempo Information. This determines if the tempo events in the project tempo track will be embedded as metadata in the bounced audio file. Plugin Manager improvements. In the Plugin Manager, when you select a plugin from the list, all categories in the sidebar that you have moved that plugin to will be dimmed. This gives you a quick overview how you have organized your plugins without selecting each category and see what's inside. Marker list export improvements. If you rely on exporting the marker list, a common task for film music, then you will appreciate the new enhancements. Check them out. Playhead follows snap value. This is another small improvement with a big impact for many users. Previously, the playhead snapped to a hidden grid. Now in 10.7.5, it follows the setting from the snap menu, which means you can also set it to off, which was not possible before. And last but not least, all the 35 stump boxes that are in the pedalboard plugin are now available as individual plugins. Okay, that sums it up about the Logic Pro update version 10.7.5. For more detailed explanations of all the new features and changes in this new release, please check out my book Logic Pro: What's New in 10.7.5 with information and insights you won't find anywhere else. All the links are on my website dingdingmusic.com. Don't forget to subscribe and check the bell for notifications about exciting new videos in this Music Tech Explained YouTube channel. In addition, you can read my free Logic and Pro Tools tutorials on my website. And please explore the books in my graphically enhanced manual series. They are available in different formats, as PDFs from my website, as iBooks on the Apple Bookstore, and Kindle and printed books on Amazon. All the links are available on my website dingdingmusic.com.